Good morning and welcome to the UpNorthNY Cayuga Lake Fishing Report. The report's based on fishing yesterday, which was October 17th, 2020. I went out in the afternoon from about 3 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I trolled from about Schuyler Creek down to just north of Goosewatch Winery, turned around and trolled back. I caught two fish into the boat, one that got off just before I got it back to the boat. The two fish brought into the boat were a landlocked salmon, which I believe was legal. I didn't measure it. I released it. And a lake trout that I would guess was about 18 inches to 18 or 19 inches, right in that range. And the fish that got off was either a landlocked salmon or a rainbow trout. I didn't get a good enough look to know the difference, but I had that one almost up to the boat before it threw the hook. I think if it was a landlocked salmon, it probably wasn't legal. I don't think it was 18, but if it was a rainbow trout, it would have been legal to keep. In any event, I had perhaps one other hit that I didn't get hooked, so I'm not sure what happened with that one. Since the report is as short as it is today, I thought maybe I would talk for a minute about some of the lures I've been using. And the one I wanted to focus on first was what I use as a cheater, and that's a needlefish. I typically use one in a brown trout color, but I also like this color. This is a rainbow trout color. This lure happens to be readily available, and I picked this one up at Bass Pro Shop in Auburn, New York, which is towards the north end of the lake. The cheater, just if you don't know, is basically this lure on about 3 feet of fishing line with a swivel and hook at the upper end, and I attach that end to the fishing line on the rod on the downrigger, and it slides down that and typically runs at about half of the depth of the downrigger. So if I drop the downrigger about 65 feet, the downrigger is probably, with the kickback, is probably down about 60 feet. And with any kind of luck, this goes down halfway or about 30 feet. The line bows from the water pressure, and it should stop somewhere in the neighborhood of halfway down, I think. That's my best guess anyway. And if you've been watching, the cheater happens to be very effective, and it's a very, it seems to be, in fact, I probably catch as many fish on the cheater as I do on the bottom hook on the downrigger. On the bottom of the downrigger, I've been using this particular lure, which it was called a Hydra. You can't buy it anymore, at least commercially. I have a huge supply of these, and I may at some point make some available if somebody happens to be interested in buying some. But it's got as you can see, it's got a diving lip. Although the lip doesn't take the lure down very far, this particular lure will drop at most 2 feet from before it stops dropping. So it's gonna, if the downrigger is running at 60 feet, it might take it down to 62 feet, and probably not even that. I usually run about 50 feet of line out behind the downrigger ball on this. You'll note that the hook is a treble, and one of the hooks is in the body. I like to run it that way, and that's the way the lure was intended to work. You have a soft plastic body. In this case, I've got two different types of tails. This tail happens to be the shad tail, which gives a little bit better action. It runs pretty good behind the downrigger. I have that lure available in other colors. I also have used a blue and white color, and I've caught fish on the blue and white. And I have been using a fire tiger, but I didn't have the fire tiger color with me, so I opted to grab a larger one. I'm sort of tempted to try the larger one someday just to see, but I've caught fish on the fire tiger color in the smaller one as well. On the dipsy divers, I've been using a moose look wobbler. This one happens to be in rainbow smelt color which is pretty effective. There are a number of colors available. This lure, I haven't been able to find it at Bass Pro Shop, but I have found it at Cabela's and a number of other sites online. Of the other lures I use, another one I use pretty regularly is a Michigan Stinger. I do not have the Michigan Stinger except down on the boat, and I didn't bother to go down to get that today. Last comment I would make is going back to the Moose Lake Wobbler. That one comes in a couple of different sizes. This happens to be the larger size. I tend to use that this time of year, but I frequently use the smaller one, and frequently use the smaller one in the spring. All of them, I've caught fish on every single one of those lures, so they all seem to be effective. And that will end the report for today. If you have questions, feel free to ask, make a comment, whatever. I hope you enjoyed the report, and we'll come back. Fishing today is kind of out of the question. The wind's blowing at about 15 miles an hour out of the south, which makes it impossible to get my boat out of the hoist, and it's not fun fishing when it's this windy. In any event, we'll look forward to seeing you next time, and again, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit subscribe if you did, and we'll see you next time.